Hi, I'm Cassie Davis. My advice to single people, get yourself together. And then you'll have a lot to offer whomever, man or woman. I think sometimes we just look for solidarity in somebody else. Whereas if you were able to pay like your own bills, and this is way before House of Pain, y'all.
For 20 years, you've been lied to. The marriage you believed in between Ella and Curtis Payne, a complete fabrication. The radiant smile you saw on TV, nothing but a mask hiding a lifetime of tragedy. The real story involves a secret husband hidden from the world, a bizarre disease silently destroying one side of her face, and a death hoax so shocking it made media mogul Tyler Perry frantically call to see if she was still alive. Behind the woman who brought you laughter lies a chain of brutal truths Hollywood never wanted you to know. The first sacrifice, a dream, deferred for faith. From a very young age, Cassie's artistic talents were unmistakably evident, shining brightest in the realms of music and performance. She became a familiar and beloved voice in her church choir, and her family provided unwavering support for her burgeoning passion, seeing within their young daughter the potential for a bright and successful future on the stage. With this foundation of talent and encouragement, she earned admission to Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia, a prestigious and historically significant private liberal arts college for Black women. This was a monumental step forward in her life, presenting a golden opportunity to transform her passion into a professional and accredited career. Cassie enrolled as a music major, immersing herself completely in the rigorous study of vocal performance, music theory, and history. And for a time, everything seemed to be progressing perfectly toward the realization of her dreams until a single, unmovable obstacle emerged, forcing her to make a choice that would alter the course of her life forever. As part of the curriculum, every music student was required to perform a solo recital to be eligible for graduation, a comprehensive and mandatory examination designed to showcase the culmination of their years of study. Cassie had prepared diligently for this pivotal moment, but a significant conflict arose from her desire to perform a Christian gospel song, a piece of music that held deep personal and spiritual meaning for her. The music department at Spelman College, however, maintained a strict policy that prohibited the performance of religious music during official recitals, viewing them as secular academic events. This institutional rule created an intense and deeply personal conflict within Cassie, tearing her between two fundamental aspects of her identity. On one side lay her future career, represented by the college degree that was tantalizingly within her grasp. On the other side stood her unwavering faith, the core belief system that had shaped her entire existence. For Cassie, the idea of performing a song that did not reflect her true spirit at such a crucial moment felt like an unacceptable compromise of her integrity. She engaged in heartfelt discussions with her professors, attempting to explain her position and seek an exception, but the school's regulations remained firm and unchangeable. Ultimately, after a period of intense internal struggle, Cassie Davis made a decision that was as shocking as it was resolute. She chose to withdraw from Spelman College. What made this decision so staggering was the fact that at the time of her departure, she was only one single credit shy of completing her degree requirements. She consciously walked away from 4 years of hard work and the prestige of a Spelman diploma because she was unwilling to compromise her religious convictions. This was not an act of youthful impulsiveness, but a powerful and definitive statement about her personal values. This painful experience marked the first major tragedy of her adult life, a profound sacrifice that established a lifelong pattern of prioritizing her faith above all else, no matter the personal or professional cost. This event profoundly shaped her future path, revealing a woman of unshakable conviction, ready to forfeit conventional success to remain true to what she believed was right. And though she left without a degree, she carried forward a strengthened resolve to pursue her artistic goals on her own terms. A career of struggle and pervasive misunderstanding. Leaving the esteemed halls of Spelman College without a diploma meant that Cassi Davis had to begin her professional journey from a position of disadvantage, navigating the highly competitive entertainment industry without the credentials many of her peers possessed. The path to recognition was far from easy, as she was immediately confronted with the harsh realities of show business, where meaningful roles were scarce and difficult to secure. Her first credited role came in 1988 in director Spike Lee's film School Days, but it was a minor part with minimal screen time, insufficient to launch a career or make a lasting impression on audiences or casting directors. For many years that followed, Cassi found herself in a continuous struggle for survival, taking on a string of small supplementary roles and guest appearances in a variety of television series simply to remain active in the industry and pay her bills. She made brief appearances in popular shows of that era, including Living Single, Married, With Children, Kenan and Kel, and the animated series The PJs. Each role represented a small victory, a chance to practice her craft and maintain her presence on screen. Yet none were substantial enough to elevate her status or allow her to break through to mainstream success. These were years defined by relentless perseverance and quiet dedication, a long and arduous period of working tirelessly just to stay afloat while clinging to the hope of a more significant opportunity. The most significant turning point in her professional life finally arrived in 2006, when the prolific writer, director, and producer Tyler Perry cast her in the leading female role of Ella Payne in his new sitcom, House of Payne. The character of Ella, a devoted wife and matriarch who was the anchor of her family, possessed a perfect blend of humor, warmth, and firm-handed love. Cassie's performance was a revelation. She breathed such authentic life into the character that Ella Payne quickly became one of the most beloved mothers on American television. The on-screen chemistry she shared with LaVan Davis, the actor who played her husband, Curtis Payne, was so remarkably genuine and convincing that it sparked an unforeseen and long-lasting complication in her life. Their on-screen interactions, filled with realistic bickering, tender reconciliations, playful teasing, and deep affection, led audiences to believe that their relationship extended beyond the television set. This incredible on-screen success inadvertently gave birth to one of the most persistent and damaging personal tragedies of Cassie's career: the widespread rumor that she and LaVan Davis were married in real life. The coincidence of them sharing the same last name, Davis, only served to fuel this speculation, making the rumor seem all the more plausible to the public. For years, this piece of misinformation spread like wildfire, solidifying itself in the public consciousness through word-of-mouth conversations, online forums, and gossip columns, eventually becoming an accepted fact for a large portion of her audience. In reality, Cassi and LaVan were nothing more than good friends and respected colleagues whose professional relationship was built on mutual admiration and a shared comedic timing. However, the burden of living under the shadow of this fictitious marriage inflicted a deep and lasting emotional toll on both actors. Cassi found herself constantly fielding questions about her husband in interviews and public appearances, forced to repeatedly issue denials and clarify the nature of her relationship with her co-star. This was not merely a nuisance. It had a tangible and negative impact on her personal life, creating an awkward and uncomfortable situation for her actual family and, most significantly, for her real-life partner. This persistent rumor overshadowed her professional accomplishments, transforming a remarkable acting achievement into a heavy personal burden. For many years, Instead of being recognized solely for her immense talent, a significant part of her public identity was inextricably linked to a harmful and entirely false narrative, a private love and the loneliness of the limelight. In stark and dramatic contrast to the loud, public-facing persona of the nation's wife and the relentless rumors of her marriage to Levan Davis, Cassi Davis's true romantic life was a story of a long-term, deeply committed, and intensely private love. The real and central man in her life was Carrie Patton, and their relationship was rooted in a history that stretched all the way back to their childhoods. Cassi and Carrie first met as third-grade classmates, forming an early friendship that was eventually interrupted by the diverging paths of life. They lost contact with each other and spent more than 2 decades apart, each living separate lives, before fate intervened to bring them back together in 2007. When they reconnected, the old bond was instantly rekindled, and this time, they were both determined not to let each other go again. After 10 years of rebuilding their connection and fostering a resilient and loving partnership, Cassi Davis and Carrie Patton were officially married on January 11, 2017. Their wedding was not a glamorous, star-studded Hollywood affair designed for magazine covers. Instead, they chose to exchange their vows in a small, intimate, and private ceremony, attended only by their closest family and friends. Cassi had no desire to turn the most important day of her personal life into a media spectacle, as her primary goal was to shield their love from the intrusive glare of the public eye. The couple did not have any children together, and they have consistently maintained a life of profound privacy, keeping their marital life far removed from her public career. This commitment to privacy was partly a reflection of Cassi's inherently reserved nature, but it was also a necessary defense mechanism against the immense pressures of her fame and the persistent rumors that plagued her. While the public continued to discuss and dissect her fictional marriage to her television co-star, Cassi was quietly building a real and loving home with Carrie. This created a painful internal paradox. She was unable to openly and freely celebrate the genuine happiness she had found. Every public appearance was fraught with the potential for more questions about her on-screen husband, forcing her into a draining cycle of denial. The constant effort of refuting the rumor while simultaneously concealing the identity of her real husband to protect his peace and privacy placed Cassi in an emotionally exhausting position. Carrie Patton was not a part of the entertainment industry. He was a private citizen, and Cassi was fiercely protective of his desire to lead a normal life. She had to master the difficult balancing act of managing a high-profile career that thrived in the spotlight while nurturing a private life that required tranquility and seclusion. The true loneliness in the limelight for Cassi stemmed from this very dilemma. She possessed a great and enduring love with a true life partner, yet she could not share that joy with the world in a complete and open manner. Instead, she was forced to inhabit a dual reality. In the public sphere, she was the boisterous and ever-present wife of Curtis Payne, while in her private world, she was the quiet and devoted wife of Carrie Patton. This hidden struggle underscores the steep price of fame, where one's personal life can be distorted and invaded by the powerful and often incorrect assumptions of the public. The climax of Payne, a battle for health and sanity. Just when Cassi Davis might have felt she had grown accustomed to navigating the complex landscape of public misunderstanding, life delivered its most severe and unforgiving challenges, launching a direct assault on both her physical health and her mental well-being. The first of these devastating blows arrived in early 2023 in the insidious form of a death hoax. A maliciously fabricated piece of news was created and disseminated with shocking speed across social media platforms like YouTube and Facebook, which declared with false certainty, actress Cassi Davis has passed away at the age of 58 after a battle with lung cancer. This fake news was constructed with a chilling level of detail, accompanied by sentimental tribute videos and emotional in memoriam posts, which succeeded in deceiving millions of her devoted fans. The immediate aftermath of this rumor was catastrophic and cruel. A wave of shock and grief washed over her global fan base, with social media feeds becoming inundated with heartfelt condolences and expressions of sorrow. The situation escalated dramatically as Cassie's close friends, professional colleagues, and even members of her own family began receiving a deluge of phone calls and text messages offering sympathy for their loss. The chaos grew so intense that her longtime collaborator and friend, Tyler Perry, was compelled to intervene publicly. Taking to his official Instagram account, Perry posted a statement to vehemently deny the rumor, expressing his outrage at such a heartless act. He recounted the surreal experience, writing, "After I got a million calls and text messages of condolences, I had to call Cassi and ask her, 'Hey, somebody said you're dead. Are you dead?' And she said, 'No, I'm just sitting here.'" Tyler Perry's swift and public action was instrumental in quashing the rumor, but the deep psychological wound it inflicted upon Cassi was immeasurable. She was forced to endure the horrifying experience of being buried alive by the digital world, a traumatic event that left her grappling with the fear and disorientation of a world that believed she was no longer in it. Yet, an even greater and more personal tragedy was unfolding behind the scenes. While the world was reacting to her fake death, Cassi was silently engaged in a very real and terrifying health battle. Around the year 2020, she had been diagnosed with Bell's palsy, a neurological condition that causes sudden weakness or paralysis in the muscles on one side of the face. The symptoms had appeared without any warning. One morning, Cassi awoke to find that one side of her face was drooping uncontrollably. She could not command her facial muscles. Her eye on the affected side would not close completely, and her mouth was distorted when she attempted to speak or smile. Initially, both she and her doctors feared she had suffered a stroke, a possibility that plunged her into a state of extreme panic. After a series of medical tests, the definitive diagnosis of Bell's palsy was made. To compound her health issues, she later began to experience a limp in her walk, indicating that her condition was more complex than initially thought. For any actor, the face is their most vital instrument, the primary medium through which they convey emotion and tell stories. For a comedic actor like Cassi, whose career was built on nuanced facial expressions and perfect timing, this condition was nothing short of a professional catastrophe. The illness directly attacked her weapon, robbing her of the ability to control half of her face. For a long time, Cassi made the difficult decision to keep her diagnosis a secret from the public, terrified that if her condition became known, her career would come to an abrupt and premature end. It was only later, after she had learned to manage her condition and come to terms with its impact, that she bravely shared her story in an interview. She revealed that her Christian faith had once again been her most steadfast anchor, and she had prayed relentlessly, believing that she would be guided through the ordeal. Furthermore, the unwavering support she received from her family, friends, and especially from Tyler Perry and the entire cast and crew of House of Payne proved to be invaluable. They did not abandon her. Instead, they rallied around her, finding creative solutions to allow her to continue working. On set, the production team made subtle but crucial adjustments to lighting, used specific camera angles, and employed specialized makeup techniques to help conceal the visible effects of the paralysis. This profound display of empathy and support gave Cassi the strength to persevere, to refuse to surrender her passion even in the face of her most daunting challenge yet. Other lingering wounds and the weight of a smile. Beyond the major, life-altering tragedies that have defined key chapters of her life, Cassi Davis has also endured other, more subtle, but equally taxing wounds that have persisted throughout her long career. One of the most significant of these has been the relentless pressure to laugh through the tears. Dear Turdy, for nearly 2 decades of her collaboration with Tyler Perry, her primary professional responsibility has been to be a source of comedy and light. Regardless of what turmoil was unfolding in her private life, whether she was grappling with invasive rumors, worrying about her family, or secretly battling a debilitating health condition, the moment she stepped in front of the camera, she had to fully embody the cheerful, resilient, and always amusing Ella Payne or Aunt Bam. This stark contrast between her internal suffering and the joyful exterior she was required to project created a significant and sustained psychological burden. Furthermore, despite her close and enduring professional relationship with Tyler Perry, she has not been immune to the spread of baseless and malicious rumors suggesting a conflict between them. Certain YouTube channels and online blogs have circulated brutal rumors and fabricated stories detailing supposed mistreatment by Perry. Although these claims lack any credible evidence and have been implicitly refuted by their continued collaboration and Perry's public support for her, the mere existence of such toxic narratives added another layer of stress to her life. She was subjected to the judgment of a segment of the public who were willing to believe unverified gossip, forcing her to contend with negativity that she did not deserve. Finally, Cassie's deliberate choice to live a private life and abstain from using social media, while effective in shielding her from a great deal of online harassment, also inadvertently fostered a sense of isolation. In the contemporary entertainment industry, where artists are increasingly expected to maintain a constant and direct connection with their fans through digital platforms, Cassie's silence was sometimes misinterpreted as aloofness or distance. She consciously chose personal peace over public adoration, but that choice also meant she had to face many of her battles alone, without a direct platform to dispel misinformation or share her side of the story. When viewed collectively, these lingering pressures paint a more complete picture of an artist who has had to silently endure a multitude of challenges in order to continue her life's work of bringing joy to others. Conclusion: the unbreakable spirit behind the smile. When one looks back at the entirety of Cassi Davis's journey, it reveals a relentless succession of tragedies. From the profound sacrifice of her education for the principles of her faith, to the years spent under the weight of a public misunderstanding about her personal life, to the traumatic shock of confronting a viral rumor of her own death, and finally, to the deeply personal battle with an illness that threatened the very foundation of her craft. Any single one of these challenges would have been enough to defeat an ordinary person. Yet Cassi confronted them all with extraordinary grace. Her immense inner strength was forged from 2 primary sources: her unshakable Christian faith and a remarkable, innate resilience. For Cassi, faith was never an abstract concept. It was a tangible weapon that armed her against her darkest moments, providing comfort, hope, and the will to carry on. Consequently, she did not crumble under the weight of her adversities. Instead, she continued to act, to perform, and to bring laughter to her audience. More than that, she has begun to use her own painful experiences as a platform for good, speaking out to raise awareness and offer support to others who are also living with Bell's palsy. The story of Cassi Davis offers a profound and essential lesson. Behind the most brilliant and infectious smiles on our screens can lie depths of pain that we can never fully comprehend. She is not merely a victim of tragedy. She is a powerful symbol of fortitude and the enduring power of belief. Even though life has tested her in the most severe ways imaginable, her consistent response has been to rise again, not with bitterness, but with a renewed commitment to spreading joy. Therefore, before we hasten to share a rumor or cast a quick judgment upon a public figure, it is worth pausing to remember that they are human beings, engaged in their own silent battles. We should cherish artists like Cassi, individuals who have quietly endured so much, all for the sake of dedicating their incredible talents to the world.